Folks, welcome to an all-new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Wednesday episode. Folks. How the heck is everybody doing out there? It is January 3rd. Have they given up on their New Year's resolutions yet? How are you guys doing? Are you hanging in there? Listen, I didn't make resolutions this year because why? You can't improve on perfection. No, I just figured why set myself up for failure. And that's good. I think that's a good way potentially to start off. But we are just thrown back in. I mean, how many people had to go back to the office today and start answering emails again? We start this whole circus up. Now, the holiday wasn't really that relaxing for me. And it was highly emotional for so many reasons. And I'm really happy to start this new year, like I told you yesterday. Did you guys listen to that Teen Wolf recap? Isn't that just like like 10 shots of espresso every time I record with Annabelle DeSisto? I feel like I'm flying. I feel like I've drank so much coffee, and it's like 2.5 hours in. We're just trying to land the plane, if that makes sense. But we're getting back to normal shows. Just remember, I'll probably be putting out actually a couple episodes today because I have two guests that I want you to listen to. That is a little, it's pop culture related, but it's a little off the norm of what we usually do. And then remember, Thursday we're doing Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. That recap of the season finale that aired tonight. Holy mother bleep. Oh my God, you guys. We're going to talk a hair about it just because I got to, just because there are so many thoughts. But I also think it's almost good that I'm going to wait 18 hours before I start recording like fully the recap about it, because I think more stuff will be revealed. And I want to really see how I sit with this, because I've been going back and forth all night once I found out. And by the way, if you listen to this podcast, I told you on the last Salt Lake recap about the reality Von Tease. I told you all of that. Like I wasn't surprised. What I was surprised, and I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't watched it yet, so maybe fast forward for the next couple hours of the show. No, is that Heather Gay finally admitted the black eye. And I find it interesting that she admits her lie in the midst of trying to nail down Monica, who has also not necessarily lied flat out, but is the one behind this account that trolled all of these women. And I mean, she almost presented herself as like a Batman of the meme variety of like, I was trying to take Jen Shah down, damn it. I was trying to take Jen Shah down. I am very conflicted about a lot of this. And I'm trying to see where I land, because some of it I think, wow, man, Monica is kind of like, there's a little bit of an urban hero in there. It's like, oh, wow, she travels from town to town, and like there's like a kind of a Robin Hood thing, but that doesn't make any sense at all. But then I'm like, yeah, these women obviously can't trust her at all, but can these women trust any of themselves to begin with? I found it so funny that they talked Heather. By the way, Heather had to have known about this before she went on this trip. And I'll point out some of those instances of why I think that when we do the full recap. But also, if you've been listening to my recaps, you will know one of my big reasons was on the beach in the last episode when they were talking and Monica said, oh, I'm the kind of person that would actually put something in a DM. And Heather goes, what? You're the kind of person that, and like she, and I know this sounds so douchey of me, but it coming from like, acting classes and things like that, it was like Heather was hitting those lines so hard within an inch of their life where I was like, girl, like dial it back. It's not coming off natural. It's coming off so forced, where I thought Heather thought that was like, well, I mean, it kind of was a gotcha moment of, oh, you would do that? You wouldn't do that. Don't say that. Like it was too leading in a way. Go back and watch that scene. In fact, I think they re-aired that little clip of it in a, they re-aired that clip tonight. So there's that. But also, Heather had a couple of monologues and I'm like, these seem so rehearsed. And I don't mean production was involved. I don't mean production was involved in it, but I do think Heather definitely had a plan of action. And I'm not saying Heather was wrong. And I'm not saying Heather is not, triumphant in this, because she was able to get her point across and to really, really reveal Monica for who she is, and how she relates to all these women. I found it really jaw-dropping the last 20 minutes, but also I find it interesting. And one of my friends said online, she said, She said, I think Heather revealed about Jen giving her the black eye because Monica already knew it and would have probably revealed it. Like, Monica does have dirt on all these ladies, but the point is, all of these ladies, Lisa Rinna, Margaret Josephs, all of these women, they do collect information on other housewives. We've talked about this. This is an open concept. It is not new. This is a game of Survivor. It turned into that about 10 years ago on these shows. And it is, I mean, now this is Survivor on steroids, though. This is wild. And I want to know when production knew, because I do think, and I think there is even an inkling, and I'm so sorry if anybody's listening over at Shed Media and I'm completely wrong, but I do think there is a possibility that they knew a little bit about this. Because remember, Monica was admittedly against Jen Shah in her case, right? Like, that was how she came on. There was like jokes about her wearing a wire for the FBI, all of this stuff. But is there a world in which Monica was honest with production? And would they? I don't know. There's so many things. And then that, of course, is the big question, the $1,000 question. Will Monica be invited back, and will she come back? And a lot of people were like, listen, Bravo needs to draw a line. This is beyond the pale. And I will say, Bravo really does poo-poo this kind of stuff. I mean, I had heard from a source that, I told you guys this, that Lisa Rinna didn't create an account, but she definitely was in the DMs of a lot of us memers and stuff like that, and feeding information, like, and got kind of caught with that. And I know they don't take too kindly to that. There do have to be rules in place. Listen, if Housewives is becoming a sport, we do need to have referees. We do need to say when something's out of bounds, when that is a foul, and you might get kicked out of the game. I don't know. I'm that's why I kind of want a little bit of time to sleep on it, because listen, Monica, obviously, and Monica, if you're listening, hi, hello, fabulous first season, honestly. But Monica has a lot of issues. And I'm not saying all these other ladies don't have issues, but Monica, and I'm trying to add context to it. I'm trying to think in my mind what would lead somebody to do all of this. And of course, there's revenge. Of course, she had very strong feelings against Jen Shah. And I'm sure the time she worked with Jen, she saw what a horrible person Jen Shah is. On the other hand, though, you don't want to then work with somebody, go against them, and in a sense, then turn into that person yourself. On top of that, she does have children. On top of that, she is divorced. On top of that, she is wanting to have a career in the future, and that's got to put a lot of pressure. I mean, getting cast on a Housewives show when you are not at the median income level is almost like robbing a bank. You got to really figure out the right, precise way to do it and to land, to really make yourself memorable. And she did, but is she the ultimate one-season wonder? Is she the ultimate one-season wonder? That's what I keep going back and forth on. And we have a three-part reunion. Oh my God. I just kept thinking tonight, Mary Cosby not being there in Bermuda, and thank God she wasn't, because that would have slowed it way down. Everybody having to explain what a burner account is to Mary. And Mary's like, what? What are you talking about, little girl? What are you talking about? Burner account? What are you talking about? Like, I'm now very thankful. And that's almost another reason why I think production kind of knew, because they were like, you know what? Some shit's really going to go down the Bermuda trip. We don't think we're going to have Mary here. She might really slow things down. Also, we only have one driver for the Sprinter van, and we can't have it going off to McDonald's in Bermuda to get Mary a McRib or something. I don't know. There's so many things. And already the Housewives are going off on social media. Meredith Marks in a tweet. This is great. I just posted this a while ago. She tweeted or twatted or X'd or whatever we're calling it these days. She says, I found out about the security footage of MMPC shortly before the trip. Perhaps now you understand why I was staying calm and quiet, trying to piece together the puzzle as accusations were flying. So Meredith says she knew, because what the other big reveal is that you can tell that Monica Garcia in an old hairstyle or a wig was in Meredith Marks' Park City. That's what MMPC means. It's not the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is Meredith Marks' Park City. And we see the footage of her in there. And that was the time that something got stolen from Meredith Marks' store. But we see her on the security footage. But Meredith right here says that she found out about the security footage before the trip. And that's why she was so weird. And here I'm thinking it's just because of the bathtub. This lady doesn't have a bathtub. I think that actually is probably the bigger the bigger thing why she was acting weird. But it does lead me to believe that they all potentially knew, or at least Meredith and Heather. I don't think Lisa did because Lisa went so hard against Meredith. Also, wouldn't it be great at the end if Angie K at the end of this episode just like turned around slowly, looked at the camera and winked, and that was our sign that she's behind this with the Greek mafia, and she's like, "Ha ha, I got away with it again." Yeah, the big reveal, you guys, was Jen Shaw gave Heather Gay the black eye, and the bigger reveal was, hold on to your, is Angie K revealed she's Greek. Yeah, no shit. Like she fully revealed she's Greek. And I don't know. The black eye was pretty shocking, but then I heard that Greek thing. I was like, no flipping way. So I've got some 23andMe, some genealogists on this. We've got to crack the code. If anybody has access to one of Angie K's, just like a hair or maybe a pizza crust she's bitten into, we're going to do some DNA testing because I want to get to the bottom of this. I need to find out if this woman is Greek or not. What if that is the like one part of the reunion is just Andy going over her Greek genealogy? Of like, okay, take me back. How do we, okay, we're in Greece. Who's there? How do we get over? Like, I want everything. I want a full documentary on Angie's family being Greek. I don't know, you guys. All I know is it's January 2nd, and that's pretty great. That's pretty great television for the second. And I had already given up on the year on January 1st. Early in the morning on January 1st, I said, you know what? This year, wake me when it's 2025. But then I watched this, and I'm like, I'm excited again. I started making memes again. They weren't really funny, but I was at least, my mind was, I was about to say creative, but I don't think we can call that creativity. But it just cracked me up because there was also that great thing at the end of all the ladies hugging each other, the four of Meredith, Whitney, I'm going to hug all the girls. Meredith, Lisa, Whitney, and Heather hugging each other of like, I love it. It was like the sisterhood of the traveling pants all of a sudden. Like, they all really don't really like each other, but they're trauma bonding in that moment. And I thought that was so great, and then poor Angie K. Watch Angie K's face during a lot of the reveal at that dinner. I don't think she knew what was happening or what was going on. But the other thing was the Reality Von Tease account, and Monica even brought this up, was, listen, all of these housewives have interacted with that account. And we saw Angie K's of like, girl, you crack me up, girl. They all love this shit. I'm telling you, as somebody that has done this, has made memes, they do love this shit. They love it. And if they don't like somebody, one of their castmates, and you kind of do a pointed joke, they love it. And they will let you know. They will let you know. I usually keep things like that private unless I've been given permission, which I want to tell you a story about that in one sec. Also, Tanisha, the girl that Monica throws under the bus, Heather Gay's stylist now, or her hairstylist, I think, she actually did a bunch of Instagram stories. I think you can find her account. I'm going to play some of her audio that she recorded on her Instagram stories on Thursday's recap. But she's saying Monica's full of shit. Like, listen, I was trying to be a good friend to Monica and Kona, or whatever the guy's name was, that was involved in this as well. But she did not start the Reality Von Tease account. And I think we all kind of knew that. I think Monica was just trying to throw anything at the wall in that moment because she was busted. But this Tanisha seems like a really nice lady, but I'll play you some of her audio, what she said in her Instagram story, saying, this girl lies. Like, listen, I thought I was being a good friend to her because of how bad Jen Shaw treated her and this other guy. I don't know. I find this is when social media is not all that bad. It's bad, but it's not all that bad because it provides a deeper understanding, if you will, to dive into the story a little bit more in a 360 way instead of what we just see edited together. I do get frustrated with always, one of my big bones to pick with any, and there's no way around this. I just hate that it's going to be a 3-part reunion that will be one a week. Like I want all the information now. And I don't love, like, I feel like once we get to the reunion, I want them back-to-back nights. In fact, today's guest is Beth Karas, who's a legal analyst, and she is one of the main talking heads that helps us, takes us through the story of the curious case of Natalia Grace that is on Max right now in ID Discovery. Natalia Speaks, the second part of this fascinating docuseries, and she's our guest. But with the curious case of Natalia Grace, Natalia Speaks, they've aired 2 episodes the past 3 nights. Actually, the final 2 will be airing tonight, Wednesday night. But I like that it's all in the same week because sometimes once we get to that part where you're recapping the entire story, I want it back to back. I want to know that I don't have to wait a week. I know this is. Do you guys feel like I do, or do you like to wait that 6 to 6 days before the next part of a reunion or telling that story, because I think once we get there, we deserve to know. We deserve to know how production wants to wrap this story up. So that's my thought. But anyways, I'm so excited to have Beth on today. We're going to do a couple pop culture stories. Remember, with the show, there'll be timestamps, so you could skip right to Beth if you want to. This is so over the holiday. So it was after Christmas, actually, and I can't tell you the name yet. I thought I was being pranked at first, but there was a Bravo celebrity that I love that reached out to me and said, "Hey, please give me a call. Here is my number. I would like to speak to you about something that was on your show." And I was like, oh shit. Because listen, it has been a hard last couple of weeks. And I was like, oh God, what did I say? And I'm trying to go through in my head, but you guys know I say so many things. And on top of that, I say so many stupid, just idiotic things that I was like, this could be anything. What is going on? And I called them and they answer, and I was like, okay, so this is, and it was wild. We ended up having like a 30-minute conversation. And the only reason I'm not telling you their name yet is because I think they're going to come on the show. And I can't wait to tell you more about this conversation that we had, which ended up being lovely, even though they wanted to push back on a couple of things that I was saying about the show that they're involved in. And I don't know, now that I'm actually saying this out loud, I'm like, oh, this is so kind of douchey, because it's like, why would you tell us? I don't know. I'm just telling you guys, once I tell you, you're going to laugh, because I even texted Maritza and Sandra afterwards, and I was like, oh my God, you're not going to believe who I just got up. Oh my God, you guys. And we even talked about my mom in the conversation. We talked about the holiday. It turned out to be so great. And then they asked me advice on, and I was like, this is so bizarre on so many levels. But then at the same time, they turned out to be so, you can tell. I mean, and by the way, this person themselves, I speak very highly of. It's just it's sometimes the people around them I speak very negatively of. So I didn't know what I was potentially walking into. Anyways, it was very, oh God, I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you very soon. But it was very exciting. It was very exciting after I realized I wasn't dead. Like, I think I was also like, am I going to die? Are you going to threaten me? Do I need to watch do I have to watch out for the Greek mafia? Is that what's happening right now? Oh gosh, you guys, I missed you, even though we had a bunch of episodes. We also on the Patreon, I'll be doing new Patreon episodes this week. I did a whole mix. If you guys missed the mashups and some songs, and I've got another one I'm working on for the Patreon as well, which is a great place to put them, because I can't put them here, but I really love music, as you know. It's not a resolution, but what I do every year I start these lists of movies in 2024, TV in 2024, albums in 2024, and books in 2024. And I will start that list every year, and I will write down I don't write down every episode of television I watch, but I'll write down, like, when I finish a season of something, I'll write down every movie in the theaters and at home. I will write down every album I listen to, because I'm still in that place where I can't accept that we live in a music single dominated culture now. People don't really care about albums anymore, but I still care about albums. So I try to listen to one album a day, and I fail every year. Like last year, I think I listened to like 300 albums. But I've already listened to like 5 albums this year, so I'm really ahead of schedule. I get really excited about keeping these lists. I don't get excited about keeping to-do lists. I'm very bad at that. But music lists, it's something, I don't know if you guys keep track of that at all, because it is fun to go back and see how many movies you watched and remember those times that you had with this pop culture, with this media that we consume, that we love so much. I love stuff like that. And that's what I did, actually, on the first. That was one of the things I did. Okay. I wanted to do a couple of news stories before we get to Miss Karis, Beth, who is truly amazing. This poor Miss Karis, I geeked out on her severely. And I do want to make the point of that too, is that, true crime in some ways, and these mysteries and things like that are presented on all of these channels, are done really well. But it is interesting, that intersection that these true crimes and mysteries have become pop culture in the last couple of decades. I mean, I think we could go back to, the O.J. Simpson trial, Jodi Arias. There are so many different trials which they've become celebrities, the people that are involved in these trials. And I feel like now in the year 2024, it's even reached a fever pitch. It has become like reality television in so many ways. And I find that really scary and fascinating. But at the same time, I want to be honest in that it is entertainment now. There is this bit of entertainment that it walks us through. And I'm trying to reconcile my feelings on that. Anyways, we'll get to Beth in a second, but I also want to give a special shout out to Lisa Rinna. Do you guys remember Lisa Rinna? She used to be on, I think she was a friend of on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Yeah, it's me, Lisa Rinna, everybody. Happy New Year. I was just with Harry. He was asking me to leave him alone, so I wanted to pop out and say hello. Well, anyways, you guys, the Daily Mail is reporting that Lisa Rinna, 60, she looks amazing for 60. There's no joke there. Stirs up controversy as she poses nude on social media again to mark 2024 as fans urge her to grow the F up. That's a great Daily Mail headline. Now, this is showing that my brand is strong and sad. I got sent this picture so many times in the last day of Lisa Rinna posting nude. And the thing is, guys, I didn't even realize this was like new because I've seen so many pictures of Lisa Rinna, doing this whole naked bit, that I just thought this was one of those. But I guess she did a new one. Happy New Year 2024. She wrote on her Instagram, and she placed emojis covering up her breasts and crotch. Thank you, Lisa. And she wrote, starting it off fresh. And I was like, I'm going to start it off by getting your account shadow banned. I don't want my kids to see this filth. Now, I don't have kids, but if I did, I don't want them to see like, mommy, Lisa Rinna's nude on Instagram again. She's dancing again to Harry Styles. She might throw out a hip. It's scary. No, I don't think anybody can argue that Lisa Rinna looks great. I also don't think anybody can argue that Lisa Rinna is scary. I think sometimes she is scary. And it shows you, I don't know, there is this thing when you leave the Housewives. Like, I think Lisa Rinna's doing good. Like, she got the American Horror Story. I think she's working on another TV show as well. So she's showing up at like every runway catwalk. I just think my thing was I never wanted Lisa Rinna to not succeed, if that makes sense. I want her to work forever. I think she's a talented actor. There's no joke there. I just thought she really became really long in the tooth on the Housewives, especially this last season, where I thought it was good that she sat it out. My issue, though, is when you start bad-mouthing the Housewives, when you start bad-mouthing the show or Bravo in general, that's where I get pissed. It's like, I can talk shit about my family, but you cannot talk shit about my family. And the fact that this show revitalized Lisa Rinna's career and then she has the balls and then complain about it, it to me is like sour grapes, because we all know how this song ends. We all know how this song ends, where she wants to get back on the show. She'll beg to get back on the show. We've seen it time and time again. And I just think that's the frustrating part, is that, look, we can see into the future, Lisa. Trust us. You're going to want that paycheck. You're going to need that paycheck at a certain point. And you don't want to badmouth Bravo now when Andy has said so many times that this is kind of like a pause. No, not kind of like Dorinda. Oh my gosh. Are you guys watching Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip? How amazing is that? Now, not tons is happening, but it doesn't have to be. It's just the ladies, the way they interact, the way that they talk over each other. You can watch the episode 3 different times and get 3 different things from it if you pay attention to like a different character each time. They just talk over each other. It's like the only thing I always describe it as like a David Mamet play. David Mamet wrote so many good, like American Buffalo and Glengarry Glen Ross, but he would write his characters where they would talk on top of each other or at the same time, and that would be in the script. So when you rehearse it, you would be doing those lines at the same time, and it's like real life. And so when you watch Real Housewives of New York, this Ultimate Girls Trip with all the Real Housewives of New York, it really throws us back in a time where they did it first and they did it the best in terms of reality television. So I am loving Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip over on Peacock. The new episode comes out, I believe, on Thursday. So you just have to wait one more day, but I've enjoyed every episode. I actually am caught up on that. So I can't wait to talk a little bit more about that. And hopefully somebody Hopefully we'll have one of the cast members on there in a little bit. So Lisa Rinna celebrated that, scared the shit out of me. I was like, this is not going to be a good year when I saw that. But congratulations to Lisa Rinna on that sick bod, yo. The Harry's Bolognese keeps my skin looking young and vibrant. Okay, in other Bravo news, before we get to some actual general pop culture news, Summer House star Sam Freier, who's been on the show before. Remember, she was dating Corey Kiefer. There is some breakup rumors going on with them as she appears to ring in 2024 without them, the Daily Mail is reporting, because the 26-year-old blonde bombshell shared New Year's Eve outtakes in an Instagram post, which did not include Corey Kiefer, 33, and added a telling caption. She wrote, "A fresh start." She wrote underneath two photos, one solo shot and one with a gal pal, and they each held martinis. And so she just wrote fresh start. Now, this could be completely reaching, but I will say that after watching the Winter House this season and watching the reunion, I do think that there was obviously, it seems like Sam is having a very hard time in that relationship, and I would completely understand why. Now, I sat right next to them at the Bravo Awards at BravoCon, and they were having the time of their lives. But I just imagine this. Sam's great. I think Sam is very special. I think she's very unique, and I'm excited to see her on a new season of Summer House. I think it might have been too much too soon in regards to Corey, and I think Corey is just kind of a different animal. And who knows? Maybe this is not true. And also, maybe they're on a break. Who knows? We don't know. But that Daily Mail is really reading into your Instagram caption. Oh, God, do you remember you used to do that when Facebook first started? You would just post like a lyric to a sad Journey song, and everybody would be like, what's wrong? What's going on? What does that mean? What does that mean that you posted that sad song lyric? What, we always have to take something from it and make it an actual story. So we will see. Now, actually, I lied to you. I'm going to do another Bravo story, but this is also because I had the ladies from the Bravo docket on a couple of weeks ago. It was just a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about Tom Girardi. Do you remember Erica Jane's husband? Was standing trial to see if he was at a court hearing to see if he would be able to stand trial, if he was mentally competent enough. Well, guess what? Today, the Los Angeles Times is reporting that Tom Girardi is declared competent to stand trial. Now, if you remember, Ceci went actually to one of the days of the competency hearing and, just gave her opinion was that he wasn't. And I got to tell you, I kind of was with Ceci on this, was that I think, Mr. Girardi is obviously in a different mental state and obviously in the sunset years in more ways than one. And I am actually really shocked that he is found competent to stand trial. So a federal judge in Los Angeles has found him competent, paving the way for the disgraced former lawyer to go before a jury this year and answer charges that he stole more than $15 million from his clients as part of a decades-long fraud scheme. The decision was announced Tuesday in a brief notation on the case docket that U.S. District Judge Josephine L. Staten had filed an order finding defendant competent to stand trial. The order was placed under seal until lawyers for both sides have a chance to identify information in it they want to keep confidential, such as health records and other sensitive material. Maybe there's some nude shots of me and Jay. Maybe that's sensitive material. The ruling was a victory for prosecutors and for legions of Girardi's former clients who feared that their erstwhile lawyer's dementia diagnosis would forestall a jury trial and accountability for the 84-year-old. He's not above the law, said former client Danny Barnes, who estimates he lost about $2 million from a settlement in the 1990s for Lockheed Martin workers who said they were poisoned by chemicals used at the aerospace facility. Though the indictment does not cover his claim, he said Girardi's prosecution validated all who felt victimized. He's done a lot of harm to people. He's damaged families. He stole our money and our heritage. He knows it, so he should be afraid. Joseph Rugi, butchering this name, Rugi Gomez, he was on the Housewife and the Hustler documentary, who suffered catastrophic burn injuries as a teenager in the 2010 San Bruno pipeline explosion, is named in the indictment as one of Girardi's victims. I was pretty surprised, he says, of the competency decision. Now, remember, Girardi negotiated a $53 million settlement for this gentleman. and his appearance and is alleged to have stolen part of it. And he said, I thought they were going to let him off easy. Girardi faces the prospect of dying in prison if convicted of wire fraud charges that carry the possibility of a decades-long sentence. So this is going to be really interesting. We'll see how this is presented. Also, can you imagine being a juror on this? Man, and I think I would immediately, if I get called for jury duty and this is it, I think they're like, oh, you have a Bravo meme account? Go, you can actually be a cast member on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. So we'll get you more information, but I got to tell you, this was big. The Salt Lake City finale and this are two big surprises in 2024 already, because I thought there was no way that they were going to declare him competent in any stretch of the imagination. That did blow me away. So I can't wait to talk more about that. Oh, also one last thing. Guess who got involved in the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City hysteria tonight? Oh, that's right. If you think prison can hold this woman down, think again, because the real Jen Shah posted this on her Instagram stories, quote, "Bravo, if I punched Heather in her eye, you guys would have footage to prove it. It's clear the show can't live without me since I was brought up at the beginning, middle, and end of season 4. Andy is still butthurt that I turned down his one-on-one interview. Why would you sit down with someone who gave another cast member a black eye? Next story," end quote. First off, she must have given this quote to somebody else. She obviously does not have access to her Instagram, and I think that has to go through many channels. But secondly, girl, please listen. I know you want a little shine. I know it's fun to get attention. I know it's fun to release things in the press that you're friends with Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos, that just got put in your prison a couple of months ago. But I think the one thing that we can come together as a Bravo community, the one thing that we are not mixed up in, I don't think a lot of people have differing opinions on, is that Jen Shah is not needed on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. They are telling a story that is coming off the heels of you completely defrauding elderly people. So the ramifications of that and you going to prison, we had to start the story there. And also, yeah, you are going to come up. You're probably going to come up in other seasons as well. I hate to break it to you. And you watch Housewives, you know how it works. They still talk about Bethany on their show as well. And listen, I never thought I would actually compliment Bethany in 2024, but you're no Bethany. You're just not. And also, this message really showed me exactly how much you've changed so far. You can press release all the time about your Shaw amazing abs in prison and all of these things and good deeds that you're doing, but at your heart, you're just still this person that is exactly what it seems like Monica might be coming or turning into. But Andy is still butthurt that I turned down his one-on-one interview. The language, I mean, Shakespeare would be impressed. But also, I fully believe that she fully punched Heather in the eye. And I think it is funny that Heather, who I don't agree with, and you guys know that, how hard she rode for Jen. I still will never understand. I don't understand why any of those ladies ride to this day so hard for her. So much so that I think she has information on those ladies, because at this point, why do it? But see, Heather, see what happens? Jen Shah immediately calls you a liar from prison nonetheless. Doesn't even sit there and think, you know what, maybe I should just say, hey, it was a bad night. I don't know. It was a bad night. I feel horrible. And I thought, listen, I'm already in trouble. Me accidentally giving Heather a black eye, that's just going to make me look even worse. Now is the time to come clean for your ancestors, as you said in court when you got sentenced. I mean, this cracks me up, but at the same time, it's not even needed. And it's a tiny, tiny part of the story that I don't even think at this point is the exciting part of the story. It just seems like you've got a lot of healing left to do, and you've got a little time to do it in prison. And I hope you truly do that. But at the same time, that kind of stuff, these kind of things thrown out there makes me sad, because it just shows you she still does want to ride those. She wants to ride that wave. It's that thing, even if you're in prison or if you're a housewife that just got, off the show and you want back on, they start going through these crazy antics that it's like, dude, go back to school. Listen. I don't know. I think I'll be talking about this idea until the end of days.